Hi everybody, I'm Kathleen Byron, and I'm the author of Conversations with Dawnkey, a bipolar journey. What I'd like to talk about today is prison reform. Actually, I'd like to get rid of all the prisons because they're for profit. Have you ever thought about that before? That prisons are for profit? That should give you a chill of horror. There are people making money off of this business of people going to prison. There are lots of people that don't belong in there. There are people that find out someone is innocent, and the person sits in there and they have to, their spouse or whoever has to go to bat and do all this horrible stuff to try to get the person out when it's been proven that they're innocent. Do you ever watch these shows on TV about real crime, and it shows about people who were innocent and how hard it was getting them out? This is insanity. In one of my last videos tonight that I made, I said, if you were given a choice of seeing a prisoner punished or seeing him rehabilitated and changed, which would you choose? I think a large percentage would choose the punishment because they have this sense of justice that must be fulfilled, which I think goes back to tit for tat, which I think sucks. I understand at a certain point some people use you so badly that you have to stop them. But generally I don't like the idea of tit for tat. I think it's petty and selfish. And there's this sense of justice of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I think that is part of the human condition, that people feel that way. They want justice. To me, love is justice. Pure freaking love that pours over everything and covers up all the ick. Why do people need to be punished if they can be fixed? If what caused them to be that way can be changed? I would like to see changes in the prisons. I would like to see people going in there and teaching them about love and kindness. Here is some information about it. The most compelling argument for rehabilitation is its impact on long-term safety. When individuals are provided with education, job training, and mental health support, they are far more likely to successfully reintegrate into society. Many incarcerated individuals lack formal education or vocational skills. Providing these tools allows them to secure legitimate employment upon release, reducing the economic necessity of returning to criminal activity. Programs focusing on cognitive behavioral therapy, anger management, and substance abuse treatment address the behavioral patterns that often lead to incarceration. Cost effectiveness. While intensive rehab programs have upfront costs, they are significantly cheaper than the long-term cycle of rearrest, prosecution, and reincarceration. Addressing root causes. Crime is rarely an isolated event. It is often a symptom of systemic issues. By focusing on rehabilitation, the justice system can address these underlying factors: mental health and addiction. A significant portion of the prison population struggles with untreated mental illness or substance abuse disorders. Treating these conditions, rather than simply confining the person, prevents the cycle from repeating. Systemic disadvantage. Addressing lack of education and poverty through institutional support helps bridge the gap that often leads individuals toward illicit activities. And then we have ethical and human rights considerations. My biggest point. The rehabilitative approach aligns with the principle that human beings are capable of change and that society has a moral obligation to provide the opportunity for that change. Restoration of dignity. It's my opinion that everybody deserves to be treated with dignity. I think it's a right to be treated with dignity. Treating prisoners as individuals capable of growth helps maintain their humanity, which is essential for successful social reintegration. Justice as healing. Some frameworks, such as restorative justice, argue that the goal should be to repair the harm done to victims and the community, which is more effectively achieved through accountability and rehab than through punitive isolation. There you go. And that's all I want to say about that. Actually, no, I just lied. I would also like to say that I wish, it's my fantasy, that I could go into prisons and talk to these people and take them my donkey message of love. Now, I can hear some of you howling already with laughter. And I'm sure that there would be people in the prisons that would also howl with laughter. But I tell you what, I've never been to prison, but I can imagine that it's a real downer. And that if somebody comes into that prison with the sole intent of making those people comforted and bringing them love, how do you think they're going to treat that person? I think I would be treated well. I've been treated well my whole life by people. People have been so incredibly kind to me. I would love to be able to go in there and talk to them about love. That's all I have to say now, except that I want to tell you about my book, Conversations with Dawnkey, A Bipolar Journey. Like I've said before, it's not an A+ book. It's more of a C- book. But you know what? It's an important book, I think. I think it shows the world how good and kind a mentally ill person can be. And there's a lot of prejudice against mentally ill people. And people need to read this book, I think. I think it's an important book. And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.